while I was walking. All right,
Oh,
start that all over.
yeah.
So,
Oh, my
start
name's
that all over. Yeah, start with your
yeah,
name, marriage, kids, profession, all that jazz, so we can
yeah,
get it on tape.
yeah. Daniel D'Souza. I've been married 11 years. Been with my wife for 16 years. We have two daughters. The ages 5 and 3, Quinn and Cleo, and we both own Stronghold Alarm Systems here in Seattle, Washington.
Okay, cool. And how long you been doing alarms?
13 years, and we started the company July last year.
Married 11 years, 16. So you guys were high school sweethearts, met at Little Caesars, right?
Yeah, yeah. We met at Little Caesars.
How old were is Chloe and
Oh no, Quinn and Cleo.
clinically? I was close.
Yeah, no, you're good.
I just put them together.
Everybody says the same thing.
Quinn and Cleo.
Yeah.
How'd you guys come up with those names?
We were just finding some not very common names because I was one of four Daniels in my class all through K through 12, and my wife Sarah was one of a couple Sarahs in every class she was growing up.
That's fair.
So
Yeah, I had the name Townsend, so I never ran into that problem.
yeah. How long have you guys been doing the living in the RV or
I
the
think we're
camper?
about to hit I think we've already hit 11 months. So
11 months.
we're
Okay.
coming up on a year.
Yeah, that must have been a pretty nice change or intimidating change.
It was a little intimidating. But it was also in the COVID is when we actually left, like while COVID was happening.
Yeah.
When we were doing that 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and, just
Yeah.
2 weeks and only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Uh, that we left in the middle of that, so it was kind of like it was a little bit of relief because it was either we're going to be stuck home doing or exploring the country. So
Yeah.
we'd rather go out to the middle of nowhere and explore some woods.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah.
So and who would have known it lasts this long? I mean, I I was swearing up and down it'd be done by summer, and because we were
Yeah.
supposed to go into Canada, and just
Yeah.
here we are a year later.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been rough.
It's yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't look through our notes. What
Mhm.
were you? By the way, we're recording now. It's saying live, but we're not actually live. So
Okay.
it's just a record. So if you get to a point where you say something you don't want put out there, or there's an awkward pause, or you stumble over your words or something, don't worry about it. We can edit it. It's
Okay.
not a big deal.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Um, so you reached out. I don't know how long you've been following, or if there was a particular topic you wanted to cover.
Just I've just been following actually a couple months, I
Okay.
think. And then just I appreciate the positive affirmations you put out and the good energy, and the quotes are great. They inspire me, and they hit close to home, where like what I'm trying to teach my kids and get the point across, where I need my kids to know I love their mom. I'm not just
Oh,
here
sure.
because I got kids, but I want them to know what a healthy relationship is, and make sure their expectations are reasonable.
That's, that's all. Those are all good things. How old
Yeah.
were you guys when you got married?
20, 22, 23. Yeah.
So you guys dated a long time. Yeah, you said that
Yeah.
about 5 years.
Yeah. 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your parents and her parents are they married or divorced?
My parents are divorced and her parents are divorced.
Okay. How
Yeah.
many remarriages?
How many what?
How many remarriages? How
Oh,
many times?
my side, my dad remarried. Her mom remarried and her dad remarried.
Okay, but just once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did those divorces, did they happen early ages or later ages?
For me, when I was like 2, I
Okay.
believe. My wife, young around that age too.
Okay.
Around
Uh,
that.
did you guys have siblings?
No, yeah, I got an older brother, and she has 4 siblings, two
Okay.
sisters, brothers.
How much older was your brother?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on your wife's side?
I think her older sister's at least 6 to 8 years older than like a 2 or 3 year older sister, 2 year older brother, and then a 2 year younger brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming with you guys, the divorce probably didn't hit as hard for you guys because you guys just kind of grew up in a life where that was normal. Would that
Yeah,
be okay?
it affected us, yeah, down the road. Not immediately. Maybe for
Right.
my brother because he was 3 years older, so he kind of had
Sure.
an idea what it was. Yeah.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, upon reflection, of course. But I mean,
Yeah.
so I was the same way. I was like 2 weeks old when it happened.
Yeah.
Um, so I knew nothing else. And,
Yeah.
I grew up in a house where that was the normal.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything broken apart later down the
Yeah.
line. So I was just curious if it was similar with y'all.
Yeah.
Uh, but I know like my older sister had a harder time with it,
Yeah. And
and I know
I think most marriages have issues the first couple years after kids because it's just so hectic, and it's hard for a lot of people to put their own feelings aside or needs aside temporarily because there's a new baby that's taking a lot of attention.
it's
They-
certainly a big stressor. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
a lot
It's
of
a good thing, but a stressor nonetheless.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, and there's a lot of studies that say, you know, the foundation of your relationship needs to be real strong. I mean,
yeah,
that's for anything, even if you don't have kids, but certainly to go through those more difficult times.
yeah,
Uh, and then honestly, being married for a couple years before having kids is just really helpful because you get to
yeah,
know each other. Not only
yeah,
do you get to know each other, but the honeymoon phase kind of ends,
yeah,
and then you start to really get to know each other a little bit better, and like find the things that really irritate you about the other person, and
yeah,
start to work through those without the stressor. You
yeah.
know,
Even just living with each other, it helps.
exactly.
It
Mhm.
helps because there's no downtime when you both are home.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, so that's one thing I've always heard that I think is actually pretty good advice. Is
yeah,
take a couple, and the same thing with like and it's hard to do in the military because a lot of guys in the military they sign up, they get married, they deploy, which
yeah,
is just it's almost a relationship killer.
yeah,
But the same thing with like big career changes or buying a house or anything like that. Like just don't do anything but just like be married, enjoy it, get used to it,
yeah,
get used to this new person that you have to think about and consider and get used to. Um, before you do anything big. So
yeah. Yeah, yeah, that's a big deal is just considering the other person's feelings also all the time,
sure.
because they both affects you both all the time.
Yeah, and that's why I often wonder what some people went into a relationship like. Because I think like for Ryan and I, it was we were high school sweethearts too. It was we were going into it with the intentions to build a life together, intentions for it to be there's going to be fights, there's going to be arguments, but we're in
Yeah,
this for the long haul, and
yeah,
divorce isn't an option. And we wanted to have kids, and we were both on the same page as far as like faith, and we were both you know knew where we stood with like financial things, and we just
yeah,
we kind of had the same vision for a life. Uh, and I just wonder if a lot of people go in with the same type of vision, or if they're just kind of jumping into it because they have these butterflies or
yeah.
excitement about a person or
I
what.
yeah, I what I see is they jump into it just thinking that's the thing to do. You date, and then you get married, and they don't even look anything past that. And with Sarah and I make it a point, even if we're frustrated, we just communicate the whole way through it, because there's always some piece of information that's missing, or I didn't mean to say something the way she received it, or vice versa. And then if we keep it to ourselves, it's never going to get fixed. And then you just have some resentment built up, build up slowly.
Every relationship has it, but that silence when one person's frustrated and they don't voice it and they're just keeping it to themselves, aggravated.
Yeah,
And from a guy's perspective,
yeah,
because I talked to a lot of guys about that, where it's almost them protecting because they don't want to blow up and
yeah,
attack their wife or just criticize them or So it's
Yeah.
almost like a level of protecting it against it. I'll just deal with this myself, and
Yeah.
I'm unhappy about it, but I'm not gonna just rip this person apart.
Yeah.
It's uh, and so they almost think of it as an act of kindness. Standing down instead of challenging.
Yeah. But
Um,
if it gets to that level, there's some other
oh, sure, sure,
mean stuff has been said already. We try not
yeah,
to
but
cross that line.
just and I guess when it comes to going silent,
Yeah.
it's usually 9 times out of 10 not a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, communication's always going to be key.
Is your
Uh,
wife from divorced parents too?
no, no. Well, her dad divorced, but uh, like she never knew the other woman,
Mm.
and that was like a very brief thing. And honestly, she didn't even know till she was like 16, and like
Oh,
her mom referenced it somehow. So it was
yeah.
just like I think they got married for the wrong reasons, or after a year or two realized that was
Yeah.
dumb. They never had any kids or anything, and just went their separate ways. And then,
Yeah.
but yeah, her parents have uh, are still together.
Mm.
And then yeah, my parents divorced when I was infant. I
Yeah.
had an older sister, and then they both remarried. And
Mm.
then my mom and stepdad are still married. They're
Mm.
going on like 26 or 27 years now, and they have a kid, so a half brother.
Yeah.
And my dad remarried, and they had a kid, my half sister,
Yeah.
but they divorced about the time I was in ninth grade. Um, and my sister was probably first grade or so, maybe
Yeah.
second. So that was like really hard on her. Um,
Yeah.
me, I was in ninth grade. It was a stepmom. I
Yeah.
didn't live with him all the time anyway because I was jumping back and forth in custody. So, in ninth grade, you're more selfish anyway. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
didn't affect me too much. As long
Yeah.
as I could go play football and wrestle, that's all I really cared about.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see, my grandparents are all been married for 10 million years on my mom's side. Uh, on my dad's side, grandparents were, I think my grandma was married like 6 or 7 times, something crazy.
Holy moly.
Uh, and then on her side, both grandparents were married for like 50 or 60 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they had really long relate, and I think they're almost all. She has one grandfather left, so they've all passed away since we got married.
Mm.
But so she definitely had examples there.
Yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, so that was about it.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Uh, but so
uh,
are you still working or are you just
no,
living out?
we sold our businesses in 2019, so
Mhm.
we financially retired.
Yeah.
So we're funding 100% that all the travel and the if you want to call this a business, it's certainly going to be. That's our intent.
Yeah.
We just don't generate much income because we don't really sell anything. So
Yeah.
we'd like to get to a point where we're doing live events and maybe some books down the line and
Yeah.
merchandise and things like that. But for now, it's just about growing following and putting stuff out for free to reach as many people as possible, and
Yeah.
that'll probably be the main strategy.
Yeah. No, that has to be a lot of fun.
It's actually really been fun. We were a
Yeah.
little nervous about getting in, 5 people and 400 square feet, but uh, we've really enjoyed it. It's been a marriage tester, certainly, at a few times, just because we never get a break from each other.
Yeah.
But it's overall it's been fun. I mean, we just decided it was going to be a 2-year tour originally, and we just decided to extend it to a third year because we're not going to be able to see everything we wanted to see.
Yeah.
So the third year we're going to jump up into the Northeast at the beginning of the year, and then we're going to do Alaska for the whole summer, and that'll be 2022. And then
Yeah.
probably after that Alaska summer, we'll probably call it quits.
And just go back to regular living. Typical
Uh,
living.
we'll, we'll go back to our house,
Yeah.
and maybe get another house. She's saying she wants another house. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see about that.
3 kids
It's
in a big house.
yeah. I mean, the house is fine for a family,
Yeah.
but I mean, we all lived in it before. But she wants something like on the water because we're just very active. So she'd like to be able to, especially with boys, go out
Yeah.
on a boat all the time or fish or all the time or
Yeah.
she just likes the water.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see.
Yeah.
No guarantees on that. Maybe wait for if the real estate market crashes, maybe we'll jump on something.
Yeah.
But where we're from, I don't know how it is in Seattle, but where we're from, just it's gangbusters. It's just
Yeah. There's
it's
no inventory.
crazy.
There's no
Yeah,
inventory, and it goes like that. So the houses get multiple offers, and then they're gone, and then they're like 30, 40% above asking, and or 40 grand, and it's just insane. And
it's a
it's
good
like
thing.
1,300 square foot house, you know, 400
Yeah,
something.
so we're dealing with that. So I just had to fly into Maryland, and I'm flying back out to Palm Springs, where my family is, because we're trying to settle up my grandmother's estate.
Mhm.
And so we're dealing with that same thing. But Maryland, that area is a hot market too. It's the same thing. You put the house up, and within 3 days, you're going to have, a dozen offers. And just
Yeah,
take the
and
best one.
Palm Springs must be nice right now. I used to do a lot of work at that Eisenhower Medical Center, and it's great this time of year.
Yeah, the weather was nice. We went out to we were in San Diego where the weather was nice, and we went out to Joshua Tree to boondock,
Mhm.
and Joshua Tree was 70s while we were in San Diego, and then we get there and a heat wave comes in. It's like 100 degrees every day, and
Yeah,
we were boondocking, so we weren't connected to anything. We are just out in the middle of nowhere, so that was a scorcher.
yeah,
Then we rolled into Palm Springs, and then temperatures came down again. But my wife just told me yesterday it was 100 degrees, but the
yeah,
day before it was 75. So
yeah, yeah. My wife and I grew up in San Diego, so we
San
were there.
Diego was really nice. I did like San Diego.
Yeah, we just moved to Washington 3 years ago.
Okay. I'm not
Yeah.
a big fan of. See, the only thing I don't like about I love California's geography and like the lifestyle.
Mhm.
Um, I hate uh, the gas prices.
Yeah,
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 fuel at home and in Maryland is like $3 a gallon for diesel, and it's like 4.50 and where we're going. So
yeah,
cost is just driving me crazy.
yeah.
And it feels a little oppressive. It just feels like there's a lot of rules. Like there's so many rules you can't even follow them all, and
Yeah.
it's
But there's
that's
a
the
lot
only
of
thing.
people there that like those rules.
Yeah, and I get it. You have a lot of people there, so and when you get
Yeah,
that many people in an area, there's bound to be a percentage that are just
yeah,
dumb.
yeah,
So you got to state the obvious. Um, but Florida is a little bit more laid back in the you know, and that's where I'm from. So
yeah.
I'm just used to a more laid back approach of governing.
They seem to be doing okay,
Yeah, they're doing good.
better than most.
Yeah, I think they're middle of the pack in COVID rates, and they
Yeah,
have the least restrictions. So I
yeah.
know the I forget the governor's name.
Ron
Uh,
DeSantis.
yeah, I know
Yeah,
he was getting ripped for a while. Uh,
uh,
but yeah, I think it's playing out pretty decent. Yeah, we had all the spring breakers come down, so I think that spiked some rates. But
I think they rolled us back to like phase 2 or something like that. But
that's good. I got a sister-in-law that lives out there in Seattle.
mm,
So we'll be spending a bunch of time up there, and
yeah,
probably around August.
right before.
Apparently, you guys got a lot of hiking within about a couple hours of you.
Oh yeah, a lot less than that too.
Oh,
30 minutes.
really?
Yeah, we go to a
That's
little
good.
trail that's like has a river where the kids just throw rocks in it for an hour, play in the sand, and it's like 15 minutes from the house. But we live down in Graham, so like an hour out of Seattle. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
So you moved 3 years ago to Seattle,
Mhm.
and you started your own business 3 years ago. So did you buy an existing business?
No, we started the business a year ago. So I moved up here, worked
Okay.
for a fire alarm company as a technician, and then
Okay.
my wife and I we like to set stretch goals and reachable goals, and the stretch goals turn into reachable goals, and just go from there. I got a lot of people rooting for me and supporting me, and you know,
So I was a small businessman, so and I still am. I love that lifestyle.
yeah,
I love that everything's on my shoulders, and that if it fails, it's my fault. If I screw up, it's my fault. If I succeed, it's my fault. It just
yeah, yeah,
everything is just on you. There's no one else to ask for help or to blame. Like you
yeah,
can't blame employees because you hired them or you let them stay. I mean,
yeah,
you can't blame customers because you picked to work with them. Like you can't blame anybody but yourself for making every single decision, which I
yeah.
love.
And people ask me like, "Oh, how is it?" And then the only thing I could say is it's so much fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun every day. It's fun, sending out bids. reading specs, and they're just boring, but I'm reading them, and sending out bids, and and then doing the work in the field. It's still fun, it's and I'm still
Yeah,
able to do it.
and that's one of the things about doing it yourself is and even as you scale,
Yeah.
I had to do a certain amount of office work, but anytime I wanted, I could just walk out of my office and go fix a machine or go jump on a repair and do
Yeah.
stuff with my hands, which I also like to do. So, and for
Yeah.
someone who's ADD like me, it was good to be able to bounce around and progress on all fronts,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
be stuck doing one thing all the time.
Yeah. I just like it. It's all like you said, it's all on you, it's all on me, and I can make it look as nice as I want it to look. And I don't really have any restrictions when it comes to what the customer wants.
So it took us. So I thought it would take me about a year and I think about $30,000 to start. So it'd be about $30,000 and about a year before it became profitable.
Yeah.
And it ended up taking about 3 years and probably
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
lot more than that.
Yeah.
So you're at the 1 year mark. So I assume you're at some level still struggling to get this thing on solid footing.
Yeah, it's been slow the last few months, but we have a couple big camera projects coming in at the end of in June, starting in June or July. So, but we're able to pay everything every month somehow. So it's
And
it's working,
that,
yeah.
there came a point, and I was just looking at all of our tax return stuff before we left because I was kind of clearing out the office.
Yeah.
Uh, and man, I mean, those years were so, that would have been like 2011, 12, 13, those areas,
Yeah.
14. And it was just, the numbers were just so insanely bad. Like, I don't know how we actually fed our family. It was
Yeah.
just like,
What kind of company was it?
what's that?
What kind of company was it?
Then it was just coffee distribution. So we had an OCS company.
Okay.
So we basically gave out equipment and sold coffee and all the stuff that goes with it. Uh,
Yeah.
and when I originally started that business, it was just Tossimo machines, so
Yeah.
which was like craft owned. It was like a competitor Keurig, and that's all I was going to do.
Yeah.
And then when we sold 10 years later, I still had a whole bunch of those machines, brand new in boxes. It's just
Oh,
we ended up having to shift our whole business model because I was just wrong.
yeah.
Um, and we just did what was smarter and made more sense.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, there were years we were pulling down, I think 11,000, 15,000, $18,000 for the year, like personally. And I was like, I don't know
Yeah.
how we survived. I really don't.
Yeah.
Because I'm a budgeter at heart, like I'm very detailed, but those years, I just knew math wasn't adding up, so I kind of stopped. So
Yeah.
that was wife at the grocery store with a calculator, making sure she's got
Yeah.
everything because we only have X. So
Uh, yeah. My
yeah,
wife's very disciplined when it comes to money. Yeah.
that helps a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, so all that to say, yeah, I've been there in the first year. I've been there in the tough second year. I've been there in the third year, and even when it's like, do we just need to close down? Is it worth it anymore? And
Yeah.
then the ability to push through that, and
Yeah.
then we had just wild success those last uh, probably 6 or 7 years.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, which
But
is a good thing.
you sold it, right?
Yes. So
Oh,
we ended up, I mean, we added a couple more. We ended up doing vending and contracting of those services as well on a bigger scale. Uh, and then we sold all of them as a package in November of 2019. There were 4 months of verifications, which ended, I think, March 12th of 2020, and
uh-huh.
March 15th, 2020, Florida shut down. So I was like, it
Yeah.
was the probably the most world class timing of any sale ever because it
Yeah.
was because not only that before everything shut down, I don't know if you'll remember this, but
Yeah.
everybody was hoarding. So
Yeah. Yeah.
like a lot of our businesses were like distribution centers and factories, and
Yeah.
so I mean those places were we had one place 800 employees. It was a grocery store, distribution center, and they
Yeah.
had hired in that last couple months they had hired like 250 temp workers just because grocery stores were just
Yeah.
they couldn't keep up with anything. Regular stores couldn't. Any factory that was blue collar was, just we had one that was in the paper business. They did all the paper machines across the
Yeah.
country, and they were just, everyone was stealing or running out of toilet paper and paper towels, and
Yeah,
so
toilet paper.
everything there went gangbusters. And
Yeah,
so not only did numbers skyrocket during our verifications, but
yeah.
but then we ended verifications right before everything shut down. So it ended up being,
It's a blessing.
if I ever wrote a book on that, I'll just, pretend like I knew everything was coming and I could predict the patterns in China of the virus, and I knew exactly what was going to happen and the day it was going to happen. But
Yeah,
maybe rewrite history a little bit.
yeah. You could say the world's gonna end in this day, and then write books.
People do.
Yeah,
There's been a lot of those guys. I've never really done a lot of research on them. I've just heard them referenced. But a lot of doomsdayers where things have come and gone. Um,
yeah.
I
Well,
think Al Gore. I think Al Gore was one of them. There used to be I think he did a speech where we had like 10 years left before the ice caps were going to melt and the whole world was going to be flooded.
yeah,
And like I think that time expired like 10 years ago.
yeah.
So I remember
Rinse and
reading
repeat. They just changed
yeah.
target. Um, I talked to some people about the Mayan calendar. They said the
Oh
world's
yeah.
in
Yeah.
2012, and I was like, well, how far do you want them to go with the calendar? You know, they would have stopped when they went extinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
No, there's been a whole lot of and there's been some scrupulous preachers out there always predicting the end of times, and
Yeah,
and they literally write books on it and profit from it, and then it doesn't happen, and they just
yeah,
come out with a new book with a new time. So
yeah, yeah. We got
it's
daylight savings wrong.
yeah,
Actually, going to be 3 years from now. Yeah, they always move the goalpost.
that's funny. So how old are your kids?
Quinn is 5, and Quinn is 5, and Cleo is 3, and they're both in preschool and preschool.
So your wife and you work in the business together,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
home based business.
yep. Right now, yeah,
Okay. Gosh, you started it during COVID. I'm just realizing that. So
yeah,
you started the business during COVID, and you started it at a time where then they took all the kids out of school. So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
was how,
Yeah, my
how did
wife.
that work for you guys?
Yeah, my wife was staying home with the kids ever since Quinn was born, so 5 years ago.
Okay.
So that didn't change much, but we were trying to find Quinn uh, preschool to get her ready for kindergarten. Um, and then they started shutting down, and then we found the school that she's in now.
Well, yeah. So I had a home office when we first started,
Mhm.
but it's just the kids don't quite understand that even though dad's in the house, he's
Yeah,
actually working. Like they don't know how to tell the difference, so they just think dad's there. Let's go, but go play with him. And they
yeah,
don't understand. No, no, no. He's at work.
yeah,
Even though he's in the same building, he's working.
yeah.
And so
Starting the business, it
we
was
we really struggled with that. Of just I kind of need a little bit of isolation to get good work done because I'm
yeah,
ADD. Like if you distract me, I'm running off on 30 different tangents.
yeah,
Um, and so that became a real struggle of
yeah.
just kids interrupt because dad's there and they want to play.
Yeah, I would have to just go pretend I'm leaving and go in the garage and then paint some cameras or work on anything. Yeah.
So it wasn't too bad for y'all.
No, the alarm industry was an essential business, so it didn't. It slowed down a little bit when people were trying to figure it out the first couple months, but it didn't get better.
Okay.
Now, but it's hard right now because I can't just go knock on doors, try to drum up business or drop business cards off. You got to make appointments, but hopefully this COVID ends soon, so then I can start finding some new, fresh business.
Yeah, it really killed cold calling, didn't it?
Yeah, big time.
Gosh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So, but right now
All
we're
right, so
just working on new construction.
okay,
Still plenty of new construction.
okay. What are you doing for marketing? Are you like putting out postcards, things like that, like the
No,
mail, direct
not
mail?
yet. Just passing business cards out everywhere I can. It's like
Because there are like networking groups or anything like that working anymore?
there's some like low voltage groups like on Facebook and contractors groups that I'm part of. Um, but when you start the company, you realize everything costs money. Website costs money. The business cards cost money. Getting the woman-owned, minority-owned business certification costs money. It's a timely process, and so we're just hopefully we have the website up before the end of the year. Um, so I think that'll do a lot better as far as advertising online.
So do you not have a website now?
No. Mm-mm.
You just throw up like a basic one. That shouldn't
Yeah.
take a year to build. You could do one of those in a week.
Doesn't cost that much? I thought it cost a decent amount.
No, jump on GoDaddy.
GoDaddy? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll check.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a permanent one. You just throw up something. I mean, yeah, online is such a key to life. And
Yeah.
even if it's not like SEO and all that kind of stuff perfect, it's at least a validation of who and what you are. Because
Yeah.
if you can't be found online, it's kind of like, is this a scam? Who is this person? I mean, they don't even exist online in 2021, so it can create lots of doubt. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, GoDaddy, Wix, any of those. It won't be a world class website, but it'll be a website.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll check it out. I'm so picky, and or what do you say, OCD, but
And I think you should be 100%. But I think
yeah.
you should have something there that you don't like that's better than nothing until
Yeah.
while you're working on the one that you're OCD about.
Yeah.
Do that. Do that like today.
Yeah, I will.
How about like, are you doing the socials? Are you doing Facebook page?
Yeah.
Anywhere?
Uh, oh no, we don't have a social media yet.
Yeah, put a Facebook page up.
Huh?
Again, it's all just validation. Put a Facebook page up for the business. It's all
Yeah.
just validation. So when people, look, they get your business card, they look you up. It just
Yeah.
kind of validates. They'll see pictures of you. They'll see that you live in Seattle. They'll see that you have a track history. They can see some pictures from jobs you've done or the
Yeah.
equipment you recommend, some hot tips here and there. And it brings validation to the fact that you know what you're talking about, that you really exist in that town. You are a real person.
Yeah. I
I mean,
yeah, I don't even know why we haven't made a Facebook page yet. I'll have to talk to the boss.
you've got 10 million things to think about. Sometimes you just need someone to state the obvious.
Yeah. Yeah, that is it. I don't know why we haven't done that yet.
Yeah,
It's just
because
it's been hectic.
especially the age group you go after, they're on Facebook.
Yeah.
TikTok isn't going to be your thing. Instagram's not going to be your thing. YouTube probably isn't going to be your thing because that would take so much time to create the content.
Yeah.
But Facebook will be easy. You throw up some posts, you get some pictures, you tie in your family to it, you tie in the look. Even if you're just talking about like a place you guys went, to eat in Seattle, which I don't know if
Yeah.
they're allowing people to eat.
Yeah.
It just brings a more authenticity to who you are and that you're a real person. And we like to do business with people that we know and are real rather than a faceless corporation.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
thoughts for whatever they're worth. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I am.
Yeah. It's worth a lot. Because I don't know why we haven't made a Facebook page yet. That's funny. Yeah.
Yep. Well, things you can have done by the end of business today.
Yeah.
End of business being, of course, for a small business owner, sometime around midnight.
Yeah. Most times.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of work done in those when everyone else went to sleep.
Yeah.
Those 9 o'clock to midnight hours, or even waking up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, work until 6. Like that's when I would just plow through emails uninterrupted and just get a ton of work done.
Yeah. We yesterday or every day I get up at 5 and then hammer out bids or emails. And then last night went to work at 9 p.m. and then got home like a little before 2 and then got up at 5 and rinse and repeat.
It's a fun life. I mean, the grind. I think no matter what, I think that type of grind is satisfying for a guy at some level in his soul.
Yeah.
And reflecting back in 10 years, 20 years, when you're looking back on that, you're going to be supremely proud, be able to tell your kids and grandkids about that kind of effort you had to put in when the monetary gain wasn't necessarily showing on paper.
Yeah.
And even in the rare event that it fails for you, that you work as hard as you can, you make the best decisions, and it's just complete utter failure, and
Yeah.
you're bankrupt, and people make fun of you.
Yeah.
you still did everything possible. You just know you left nothing on the table. It just wasn't in the cards for you.
Yeah.
And I think living life like that is much more satisfying, you know, when we're reflecting 20, 30 years down the line
Yeah.
than to never even step foot or try, or to do it half-assed, or to,
Yeah.
wonder if you had just worked a little harder or put in some more time or made some more sacrifices if you could have pulled it off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to point fingers or look from the inside out at people who actually try. You
Oh,
know.
and so that stuff for some reason just doesn't bother me at all. It's probably
Yeah.
because I was a chubby redhead growing up, and so I just got made fun of regardless. And it just, yeah, yeah. If you want to make fun of someone for trying, go
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Your
That.
opinion just doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. That's minuscule.
Oh, fun. All right, so I guess from the parenting angle, is there anything you've been just insanely proud of that you've done, or just embarrassed that you did, or trying to figure out?
I mean, you're trying to figure out how to be a good parent every day. Every day they test you, and they're at the age where they're competing with each other. They're always racing, and they don't care if they're in a parking lot, so I'm just yelling all the time. And it's like I have to yell because if I don't yell and then they get hit by a car or something, I'm gonna feel awful. So, but
So
um,
our with that kind of stuff, our first kid was really just, he was almost OCD a little bit.
yeah,
And we kind of trained him because it's your first kid, it's 2-on-1, it's a little bit easier to do. But
yeah,
like, if I hollered Levi, like he froze in his tracks. But we were able to, you know, I mean, essentially train him like a dog.
yeah,
When you get to the road, you stop, you look both ways, you listen. The old school stuff we were taught.
yeah,
And he was just really good on it. And
yeah,
the second one was pretty good on it, but his brother always kind of controlled him. The
yeah,
third one just runs. It's just, it's, we're working on it more now, but our life is so kind of carefree now. And we're always like, it's not the same neighborhood all the time. It's not like we stop at the same stop sign to get to the playground like it was with Levi.
yeah,
We're doing different things all the time.
yeah. That repetitiveness.
Yeah, it's been a little bit more chaotic and harder to create consistency for him.
Yeah,
Uh, but he's getting better. I mean, now he's almost 5 years old now, so he's getting better at it.
yeah,
But that one, yeah, he's a wild one, and just, we just thought we were amazing parents with the first one. The second one kind of checked us a little bit. The third one, we're like, oh, geez.
yeah.
Appar- appar-
That's how we were with the first one. We were like, oh, this is easy,
yeah. Well,
easy.
they're all different. They have different personalities. You have to bring a unique approach to each one. It just can't be, this is my way and it better work for all of them. You have to be able to be flexible and
Yeah.
um,
If there was a manual, we'd all be great parents.
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
there are manuals. You just have to learn how to decipher.
it's all
Just-
junk. It's all junk.
well, it's constant gray areas, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
constant. You have to be able to make decisions on the fly in the
Yeah.
moment. And that's where I'm big on. You just have to know, what 10, 15, 20 years down the line looks like. Like, what do you want your kid to be as an adult?
Yeah.
Where do your values stand? You know, where do you stand with your integrity?
Yeah.
Because if you can have those things down solid, you know what lines you won't cross, and you know what you need to do in parenting to get to that adult you're trying to raise.
Yeah.
And you'll make decisions that are just much more sound in achieving that goal, versus you're just winging it, and all of a sudden you look up and you've got an 18-year-old smoking meth.
One thing I try to hammer in is with myself is I make sure I'm present, and I also want to make sure I'm a positive influence. Because there's plenty of dads that are present, but then they're just on their phone the whole time, or they're not present. And
Exactly.
especially this day and age, it's so easy to get distracted on your phone. Um,
Exactly.
so that's what I.
Yeah, and that's
Oh,
tough because, I mean, as small business owners, we're just always on. We're always on call, and you just never know when that email from a client that needs an immediate solution is coming through, and
yeah,
you want to be attentive on that front too. But
yeah,
certainly being more attentive to your kids is, it's good for the family. It's good for them in the long run.
Yeah. We actually found a more balance with the work home life after starting the company.
Really?
Than before. Yeah, before when I used to work for other companies, I would always get constant text messages or calls from other employees or coworkers that need help, and I would stop and help them, and then hour or two later on the phone, then I'll end up going out to the job site, just to help, and it's just
Yeah.
like I always put work first. So now it's nice to put
Yeah.
to
Well,
make time
and
for
and and there's going to be times you do have to do that. There are
yeah,
times you have to
yeah,
put work first because that does take care of the family. It's just if you're looking back and it's all the time,
yeah,
then you made a mistake. But getting the business going, there's going to be times where you just have to go.
yep,
Uh, you just have to go full grown work mode, and maybe kids don't see dad for a few days, or because he's so zoned in. And,
yeah,
there were definitely stages of our business where shoot, the kids might not have even known they had a dad.
yeah,
There'd be multiple weeks of me just, because if I'm jumping on a truck making deliveries all day and then doing the office stuff at night, I mean, on a truck all day,
yeah,
then placing orders, going through emails, and doing all that stuff at night. So I was getting home after the kids go to sleep, leaving before they woke up.
yeah,
Um, and that would go on for weeks until I could get someone hired and trained to
yep,
alleviate one of those things. And that was just very real. And that was at the same time you're a small business owner, so they would be able to pop in sometimes and bring some pizza down to the office or bring dinner down to the office, and uh, because they were free to run around and do whatever they wanted in the warehouse.
yeah,
But then I was at least seen. That's the freedom of a small business owners. Even when I was buried in business, they could make appearances, and even though I'm working hard,
yeah,
um, so we've always liked that lifestyle. But there were definitely times where I was all in on business because I had to be. It was for the business's survival, and the survival of the business was good for the family. But it
yeah,
wasn't like it would be a year at a time, or 6 months at a time, or even 3 months at a time. It'll just be kind of shorter segments of,
yeah,
okay, I really got to zone in here. And
yeah,
but then there were other times where it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner with the family. So
yeah,
yeah, just I can go to work early. I can go back, have breakfast, hang out with everyone. We're laughing. Go back to work, get some stuff done, come back for lunch, same thing. Because
yeah,
we homeschooled, and so that was a lot more easier. And then dinner, the same thing. And so
yeah,
sometimes the business was just almost running on autopilot, and then you're there a lot at home.
yeah.
So
The end
just
of
kind of it ebbed and flowed with seasons.
Yeah, yeah. Summer's our busy season usually, so um, it's gonna be a lot of pick them up from school, go down for a nap, and then I'll be working all afternoon and night, and then breakfast, rinse and repeat all over again
Yeah.
every day, and it's it's all good. And the youngest one's having some trouble. She gets kind of sad going to sleep when I'm not there. Like last night, she got kind of sad because I had to go in and had to be at a job site at 9, so we left like 8 o'clock
In the morning or at night?
at night.
Okay, so what, overnight installs?
Yeah, just some fire alarm at a grocery store or a department store,
Okay,
the big
got it.
department stores, and they're just doing some remodeling, so I got to move some devices around and
That's always fun.
yeah, did it for a few hours. Came home, made a bunch of money, a lot
It's
more
always
than
good.
I was hourly.
Are you hoping your kids join you in the business at some point?
We were thinking if they want to do alarms, that'll be fun, but I'd like to do this for probably at least 10 years, and then we would like to franchise a few like Little Caesars or pizza places or something like that. I think I'd rather have them working in fast food or restaurants with us.
Okay, so you flipped my brain there a little bit. All right, so I was thinking you would want to franchise the alarm business, but no, you're saying you'd like to open up some pizza joints.
Yeah, I think Little Caesars was a lot of fun. That's where my wife and I met, and we got a lot of good work ethic. And I think I think that'll be better than going right into the alarm industry.
Is that
And
something you attempted to do instead of alarms?
um, well, we worked at Little Caesars in high school
Sure.
for a few
I was just
years.
curious, like when you guys got the itch to start a business, did you look into doing a franchise like Little
Oh,
Caesars, or you just go right to? Okay, I don't know if
yeah,
you looked into it at all.
yeah. No, doing it this way, we can make a little more money, a bit more immediately.
So that's always a good thing too.
Yeah, it is.
So aside from maybe listening and running around, are they giving you any other trouble?
No, they just they they test me, test my memory,
Sure.
and then they're starting to play those games like, oh well, mom said yes, and then I said
Oh
no,
yeah.
and then like
Shut,
dividing
shut
kind of.
shut that stuff down real quick.
Yeah, but
So
they're
we
great.
made it a point. If you got caught playing mom and dad against each other, you got in trouble. You got in trouble for playing mom and dad against each other.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when one gives you the answer, you don't go the other trying to get a different answer, or you're going to get in huge trouble.
yeah,
We set the tone early and hard on that one, and
yeah,
it hasn't been much of an issue since.
yeah. No, they're just testing boundaries, and yeah,
Sure,
we shut
and that's
them down pretty quick.
100% normal. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. They're great, and then I'm a girl dad, dad of two girls, so I do everything. I paint
So I so
paint
I so I
fingernails.
so I have all boys, which means we do a lot of outside stuff, a lot of like just boy and man things, camping, hitting things with sticks, throwing rocks.
Yeah,
But I've heard with girls, I've always been told listen and talk a lot. Like
hmm,
spend a lot of time just talking and listening because guys we just sit down next to each other.
yeah,
Um, and that's fine for us. We don't have to be engaged in a lot of in-depth conversation as
yeah,
opposed to where girls they don't get that same contentment. They want
yeah,
a lot of conversation, and so that helps to have that from a father because I mean you've seen all the things. Daddy issues are a real thing, so
hmm, yeah.
you don't want to raise your kids at.
I'm trying to make sure I do sports and everything with them, see if they like that, and then dance, and then we go out and we just, they pick up a lot. They hate spiders, but they'll go pick up a lot of bugs, and they're really curious. So whenever we go on hikes, it's just a blast.
That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and that's people in Seattle seem to like hiking. At least the ones I know.
yeah.
Is that everybody?
Yeah, yeah, because since it rains or it's gray a lot of the year, when the sun comes out and the weather's good, everybody's out and everybody's happy. you
Okay.
know. But then during the winter and it gets cold and it gets rainy and it gets gray. It's just everyone's just trying to survive till the sun comes out. And
Do you,
then once
do
the
you
sun
guys
comes out, everybody's happy.
do you guys do a lot of skiing?
No, no skiing.
You're
It's a
an
bit
anti-skier. Do you have something against it?
kind of terrifying. There's no break. How do you stop?
You pizza slices slow down, French fries to go faster.
I don't know. I
So
don't know.
so I've
Yeah,
never skied West Coast mountains, but I've done East Coast mountains, and I
okay.
like it. I mean, it's a workout for your legs for sure.
Yeah,
But I've always liked it. But I'd like to try some Rocky Mountains and some of the maybe Seattle and
yeah,
California
yeah.
slopes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll go and we'll at least snowboard. I snowboarded a couple times as a kid growing up. But right now we're just trying to make sure we get as much wildlife in as possible. Because like you said, there's plenty of trails and hiking and camping up here, and
Honestly, it's just good quality family time when you're outdoors. I mean, it's
yeah,
it hits a lot of things. It hits a lot of conversation points. It hits a lot of educational points. It hits a lot of health stuff. So,
yeah.
uh, I'm always an advocate for outdoor activity.
Try to hike at least a couple times a month now since the weather is good.
Have you guys had any real marriage testers yet?
The only thing that really tests the marriage is money, but since we started the company, it's kind of like it's not we're both on the same page, like, hey, it's going to take some time and we both just have to keep grinding. But
Isn't that the thing? Just being on the same page. I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't matter if you're broke or rich. Just being on the same page of what's being spent and knowing what's coming in and what the goals are. It
yeah,
just changes everything.
and budgeting and making sure we're both on the same page with the budget, and but other than that, it's just
How was your year 7 or around that era? Statistically, year 7 and 25 are the most difficult in marriages.
yeah. 7 was when we were kind of talking about having our first kid, and then we both just got really busy with careers and work, and then at year 10 we had our first kid.
Right.
So I think, yeah, I don't know. I don't think we ever contemplated divorce or anything, but we definitely were very career driven and just busy, you know. My wife was a did wedding cakes for a while, then also did she was a hairstylist. So going to school for that, you know, or cosmetology just keeps you really busy
Yeah.
and and
It,
yeah.
it's a real different animal when you're two people living together with goals versus two people living together with a kid.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah, yeah,
it really changes the dynamic.
yeah. Because the goal before you had kids was, oh, let's save up and remodel the backyard or the bathroom or something, you know. But then after you have the kid, it's all your attention goes to that and how to cultivate that relationship and that person, and uh, and then trying to make sure you stay on the same page. Like a thing I tell everybody who's about to be a parent is the days are gonna blend together. You're not gonna know what day it is, how long it's been, just because the baby keeps you up all the time or whatnot. But just try to make sure you have some kind of physical contact with your wife every day. Hold hands, hug each other, like something. Because sometimes you go a day or 3 days without even hugging or kissing or anything, and you didn't even know it.
You mentioned cultivating a relationship with your kids. You know, that's one of the new struggles. But you know, you just got to always remember. I think parents make. There's some parents that definitely make the mistake of like now the kid is the most important thing in the relationship, and I just think it's super important to make sure you know mom and dad are the most important
Yeah,
thing,
yeah,
and because of that, it's good for the kids.
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
much better family environment when mom and dad are on the same page. Mom and dad care a ton about each other. Mom will do whatever it takes to save the marriage,
yeah,
uh, as opposed to everyone just focusing on the kid and making about the kid, because that's when the marriage is going to break up the second, if not before the kid leaves the house. When the
yeah,
kid's gone, you're two strangers that live together and just had a kid. And, you know, you're
yeah.
both now wanting different things in life.
Yeah, you stayed together just for the kid, you know?
And divorces where they wait until the kids are older than 18, like the last kid leaves the house.
Yeah,
Uh, there's been a lot of studies on that stuff where it tears up those kids' future relationships or
yeah,
even their current ones. I mean, there was a study. It was a I think it was a politician or some sort, where
yeah,
they got divorced after like 40 years, but then so 40 years of marriage got divorced or something like that. Maybe it was 30, but then
yeah,
their kids who are all full grown adults in their 30s and 40s who've been married 10, 15, 20 years, all
yeah,
of them were divorced. I think there's three kids. All of them were divorced within about 4 years after their parents divorced.
yeah,
And I think at some foundational level, uh, it crushes your reality because you just saw this thing you thought was perfect, and all of a sudden it was ended, and you just know it was all a ruse, and
yeah,
it just wrecks your perception of reality.
yeah, and, like, what's the point of working hard and trying to create this strong marriage if it's not gonna work out anyways after 30 years? So then they just pull the plug early to keep going through that honeymoon phase with whoever they meet.
I'm sure there's a ton of variables there, but
Yeah,
it's you know if you're just staving it off thinking it's going to be better and it's not going to affect kids when they're after 18,
yeah,
it's not. I think it's important to work on that relationship and try and
yeah,
make it work versus end up because you know ending it at almost any age is gonna have some butterfly effects.
yeah.
I'm realizing layover podcasts are maybe not the best idea.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, I mean, the lady is talking a lot.
Yeah, well, it's there's like 4 or 5 different gates here, so every time a gate's loading or anything, they're giving the announcements,
Yeah,
crushing the audio.
yeah. I mean, this is a good icebreaker for me because I was really nervous. My wife was egging me on to do this. And then after I messaged you, then you messaged right back, and I was telling my wife, I go, I don't know if I can do it, you know, and she was egging me on to do it. Just she goes, all
You
you
know
do
what?
is talking.
I'll say probably about 70, maybe even 80% of the people who reach out to do a podcast will never do them.
Oh,
I've had them set up and scheduled, and then they just don't even show up on the screen.
yeah,
So I'll like set time and I'll log on. I'll be waiting, and
yeah.
yeah, never even show up.
And even if you follow up after, they don't say anything.
I don't. I mean, they obviously had something go on, and
Yeah.
I'm not gonna call them out and embarrass them or anything.
No.
Just
You say, hey, sorry I missed you.
yeah. So
Hope you're
it is.
alive.
It is what it is. They knew what time it was. They knew, what was going down. So
Yeah.
they had some reason, whether it was stage fright or, you
Yeah.
know, maybe I did a post that they just didn't like. That
Yeah.
happens quite often. my my thing is, I'm my person, but if you like, no one's gonna like everything I post. There's no way. So you just pick out what you like, and the stuff you don't like, you can read and disagree with intellectually, and
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. We're not all gonna have the exact same values and outlook
Yeah.
on life, but.
Yeah.
Probably 80 to 90% of my content is applicable to most fathers, and
Yeah.
it's good solid stuff, and then there's like 10-20% that'll
I think it's good, dude. I think you do a
that's
good
that I was baiting you for that. That's all I wanted to hear.
job.
Just pat
Yeah.
up my ego.
Yeah, I know. I was contemplating. I go, should I kiss his ass? But I was like, I don't know.
No, no,
No.
call
No.
me out. I have more fun with the people disagreeing with me than I do the people agreeing with me.
Yeah. Joe Rogan says don't read the comments, dude.
Oh, I love the comments.
No, okay.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah.
I love them when they disagree. I got attacked by a Russian moms group once. It was it was like the most exciting hour of my life. I was because they put me up on some blog somewhere, and
Yeah.
so there's just I had like 50 Russian moms just jumping on a comment.
Really?
Yeah, it was. They only lasted like an hour and a half. That was when we were out in Colorado Springs back in
Yeah.
I think October or something. But
At least you're
it
getting
was
some
fun.
visibility in Russia.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Ukraine, I think specifically. But I was so like I so believe in everything I say that I'm willing to stand up for.
Yeah.
I'm willing to stand up for it, and I have no problem telling you you're wrong and how you think.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and yet I'm not yelling at you for how you think. So,
Yeah.
I think it's whatever works for your family works. Just
Yeah.
here's some things uh, I think are important and can be beneficial to you.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah. No, I always read. I read just about every comment. Sometimes if it gets really busy, it just the way Instagram produces the comments, like it gets lost. So
Yeah.
sometimes I can't see them all.
Yeah.
Um, and sometimes like if there's a ton of comments on a post, it's like some of them just get hidden, and I can't always find them because or maybe people go back and delete them,
Oh,
and it just doesn't show me that. But sometimes I'll look for a particular one, and I
yeah.
just can't find it. And then sometimes I have a little bit of cell signal, so I can like see the notification that I have a comment, and then
Yeah.
when I click into it, like it doesn't even load because my cell data is so terrible wherever we are.
Yeah.
Uh, that happened a lot in Joshua Tree. We're just, once we were like within the hills of Joshua Tree, we had
Yeah.
no signal anywhere.
Did you think a Joshua tree would look like a cactus?
I'd actually been there before
Oh, okay. Yeah.
once. I flew out for a conference in LA, and it was in Joshua Tree. So I'd seen Joshua trees before.
Oh, okay.
Um, what I was in the store, the thing I wanted to see most, and I'm so excited I did, was Arizona's the saguaro cactuses, like those cartoon style ones with like the arms, the
Yeah.
tall ones.
Yeah.
Those things are so cool, and I'd
Yeah.
never seen them before.
They get big too.
Oh, they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was really excited to see those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they only live about 180 years, I think, max, but they'll get massive, and they get a lot more beat up than I would have expected. Like a lot of woodpeckers make homes in them, and
yeah. Yeah.
or arms will rot off, things like that.
Yeah. We remember seeing that when we drove through. We are going to like a wedding in New Mexico or something, and we drove through Arizona. That's just a neat state.
Yeah, those cactuses are cool.
Yeah. Flagstaff, Arizona was pretty, really pretty.
We're going out there. I think tomorrow I go down there.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it would have they would have snow and stuff there, but so close to the I guess south of it was desert, and then you're going north, then you get snow and tall green trees. It's a pretty cool state, you know.
Yeah,
When-
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked Arizona. It was fun. We did time in Phoenix and Tucson,
Yeah.
uh, and then we're going back and doing Flagstaff and the Grand Canyon over the next couple of weeks.
Mm, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna run because I think we're getting to be about 30 minutes out from loading. I want to grab a bite to eat and whatnot.
Yeah. Sounds good. I appreciate you taking the time.
All right. No, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course. You have a good day.
You as well.